The Conversation Motivational Hour with your host, Minister Sian Rodney. The Conversation. Thank you for watching The Conversation Motivational Hour. We love you and cannot wait to see you in person.
This program is being sponsored by Conversational Merchandise Cravings. Visit us at conversationalmerchandisecravings.com. Purchase your cups, mugs, hats, hoodies, and much more. Conversationalmerchandisecravings.com.
It's a pleasure meeting you again. It's a pleasure to say I love you. You've been so good to me. It's a pleasure to say I love you. It's a pleasure meeting you again. It's a pleasure to say I love you, Lord. You've been so good to me, Daddy Jesus. It's a pleasure to say I love you, Lord. It's a pleasure meeting you again, Daddy Jesus. It's a pleasure to say I love you, Lord. You've been so good to me, Daddy Jesus. It's a pleasure to say I love you, Lord. Once again, good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure meeting you again, Daddy Jesus. It's a pleasure to say I love you, Lord. You've been so good to me, Daddy Jesus. You've been so good to me that you wake me up undoubtedly into a brand new day, giving unto me the greatest gift, and that's the gift of life. The gift one more time to come to the tribe, the community, and the village of this august body called the Conversation Platform. Of all the affiliates this morning, I am in the neck of the woods of Albany, Schenectady, upstate New York. I am here in this neck of the woods. Nevertheless, good morning, tribe, community, and village. It's Thursday, wherever you are, because of your time zone. Probably already in Friday, and some of you are in Wednesday. But nevertheless, we all are celebrating the greatest gift of all time, and that's the gift of life. We all are in the possibility zone because once there is life, there is always possibility. Once there is always life, there is always possibility, deemed to be that you do not make a permanent decision in a temporary solution. You do not make a permanent decision in a temporary place. With that being said, once again, I'm happy to be with you, tribe, community, and village in our sip and chat this morning. I'm happy to be with you, Essequibo, Demawara, and Berbice, Caribbean country, Caribbean island, South America, North America, Latin America, Central America, continent of Africa. I'm happy to be with you on behalf of all the affiliates, the Conversation Motivational Sip and Chat, the Conversation Motivational Hour, the Conversation Motivational Date Night, the Conversation Motivational Small Business Community, the Conversation Motivational Small Business Craving, a Conversation Together We Will Rise ministry in Mahaica, Maikoni area, which is really deemed Catering Maikoni. It's located at the East Coast Corridor of Guyana. The apostle is Apostle J.D. Passad, alongside yours truly, S.G.G.R, Sion Gregory Gomes Rodney. Not forgetting the Zero to Hero TV. Yes, I want to thank all the donors, covenant partners, and supporters that they continue help us to maintain our rhythm, our momentum, helping us in keeping with our trajectory where we have already found our sweet spot. We already found our sweet spot. We already find our sweet spot. With that being said, I want to thank you for all those who put in some skin in the game to the conversation platform. We want to thank you for all your shares, your like, your views, your comment. We want to thank you for all that you are doing that are causing the conversation platform to evolve, that are causing the conversation platform to matriculate. I want to thank you so much for all the ladder holders. I want to thank you so much for all the destiny helpers. I want to thank you so much for all the friends, the family. Oh, yes, I can even give the enemies a spotlight. And thank you so much, because the enemies sometimes are very much needed, because those are the ones that kept you to pray. Those are the ones that kept us on our knees and our feet. Those are the ones that help us to understand that we are unscheduled. Those are the ones that help us to understand that we are making inroads. If you don't have enemies, therefore, there's no need for you to pray. If you don't have enemies, there's no need for you to put a value on what you're doing. You always have to have the skeptics around. You always have to have those who are around in envy, jealousy. You always have to have those who are working in contrary to what you want to do in upward mobility and in trending towards a glorious trajectory. With that being said, there's always need a Judas in the camp. They always will need a Sambalat and a Tobiah in the camp. They always will be someone that will be to make sure that you are unscheduled, knowing that your value in what you're doing. For example, as a child, I grew up in Guyana. I am from Guyana. I was born in Georgetown. The capital city of Georgetown is Guyana. The capital city of Guyana is Georgetown. I was born in Georgetown Hospital. I am from New Amsterdam, Lot 21 Winkle Road, and I grew up in Liverpool Village. That is on the East Coast, Berbice, Quarantine Berbice. So I can safely say I am a Georgetownian, I'm a New Amsterdami, and I'm a Liverpoolian. And as a child grew up, I recognized that where there is value taking out is a taking for our attention. For example, a mango tree that is loaded with mangoes, because the mango is valued to us, we're going to pelt at that mango tree to have some mangoes. What am I saying with that analogy? Is that no one will go after something that doesn't have value, that is not really potent, that doesn't have inroads that they are there to be made. So therefore, I want to let you know that enemy is what's needed. You have to pray for your enemies that they will live long enough to see you emerge. Pray for your enemy that their sight will be great to see you matriculate. Pray for your enemies that they will meet you at the place where you are destined to be. You're not where you used to be. You're not where you want to be. But this morning, pray for your enemies that they will be in your relevance. They will be seeing you coming out at your arrival terminal. With that being said, this morning, it's a pleasure once again meeting with you, tribe, community, and village. It's a pleasure meeting with you right now, wherever you are. Maybe at the nursing home, maybe in jail and prison, maybe in the long-term care facility. It's a pleasure meeting with you. Even right now, maybe it's at your breakfast table, maybe at your dinner table, at your lunch table. It's a pleasure meeting with you even right now, probably at the massage parlor. Pleasure meeting with you, probably having a pedicure and a manicure being done, probably at the barber shop. It's a pleasure meeting with you. You're walking along the shoreline, driving along the expressway. It's a pleasure meeting with you once again. This morning, you're vibing with S.G.G.R. Yours truly, Sion Gregory Gomes Rodney. You're kicking it with S.G.G.R. We're having this dialogue this morning. We're having this conversation this morning. Come, let's talk. Let's form the synergy of thoughts this morning. Because this morning, I want to talk to you about I'm not talking down to you, but I am here talking up to you. Oftentimes, we were told 150 times over what not to do, but no one take the time to tell you what to do. Everyone told you of the perimeters of dilemma, things that may cause you pitfalls. But no one tell you on the perimeters that you can elasticize. No one told you on the perimeters where you can become a critical thinker. So you oftentimes are very much au fait and aware of what not to do, in contrary of what to trump what not to do in the magnitude of what you should do. Sometimes all life need is a little strategy. And the strategy will destroy sometimes the culture for lunch. Because culturally will tell you 100 times over what not to do. And when you are at that juncture understanding what not to do and being done what not to do, or being found doing what you're not to do, you are at that juncture bitter. You are at that juncture broken. You are at that juncture frustrated, not knowing that also beyond that there's yet a brighter day. Not knowing that why the crayon is broken, it can still color. Why knowing that after the rain there is a sun. Not knowing that there's a reason for the bow in the sky, because there is always a promise. I'm here to let you know that coming from a place of understanding the what's not to do, but this morning we're going to come to a place understanding the must to do. And this morning I want to let you understand in putting some handles onto some facet of our lives in all of the what to do, so that we can able to understand futuristic that we still have goals to achieve. Futuristically, we still have things to maintain in the various facets of our lives. For example, you may grow up in situations and circumstances that not favorable to you in terms of where you want to be. For example, number one, you may grow up in an environment where no one ever went into an institution of learning. And you were told that it's impossible that you can enter into an institution of learning because your environment, because of your climate, because of your environs, it deems that it's not possible for you to enter an institution of learning. So with that being said, you are part of a cycle. But this morning, I want to let you know that what you can do. I want to let you know this morning, you can be a disruptor of an agenda. You can be one that will be breaking the cycle. It takes one to break the cycle. It takes one to build the cycle. But this morning, the cycle can be built in knowing what to do. First, you have to start with the individually belief. What individually belief you has as an individual, as a person. I'm coming in the singular form. As a person, what belief that you believe that you can do as a person. Coming from this Christian genre, the word of God said, I can do, not we can. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Understanding the content and the context is that I see on Gregory Gomes Rodney, I can do all things with the aiding and abetting of Jesus Christ. Believing in the things that I want to do. May not have 100% capabilities to do it, but with Jesus Christ being the enabler, I can do all things. For example, I can operate in all the fivefold ministry, but I'm not called to the fivefold ministry. It may sound confusing. Spontaneously, as needed, the Holy Spirit will enable me to operate in the fivefold ministry whenever it deems needed. But there is one ministry from the onset I was called to do, meaning I was called to be a motivational speaker. I was called to be an inspirational speaker. I was called to work in all encompassing in the evangelistical realm, if you want to itemize, of the fivefold ministry. But doesn't mean that I cannot prophesy. That does not mean that I cannot teach. That does not mean that no time that I cannot use to do a miracle. But the Lord will seem fit when needed to use me in the fivefold ministry. So that's why I will say in the content of the context that I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. He will give me the strength to my spiritual muscles as needed for the task whenever. So I understand that this morning in trending what to do versus what I cannot do. You may grow up feeling that you cannot do something because you were told you're not equipped. I'm talking in the spiritual genre now. You were told that you're not equipped to prophesy. You're not equipped to sing. You're not equipped to teach. But as is needed for that moment, the Holy Spirit, who is in charge of this decade, will give your spiritual muscles the enablement and the revelation so you can able to function for that moment. Let no one tell you all that you cannot do, but put yourself in a community, in a tribe, and in a village to tell you that all that you can do. I want to jaywalk into the different facet of your life this morning. That's why my topic this morning, I am not talking down to you. I am talking to you. Because I want to talk to you this morning. I want you to understand in the powers that bear for your lexicon individually that you are a overcomer. You're saying, S.G.G.R, what have I overcome? You have overcome the mentality that you can do much more than what you were told you cannot do. You're downloading in your lexicon the ability to become versus what you were told that you cannot become. You're downloading in your lexicon that you have the capacity over what you were told that you doesn't have the capacity. I'm here to let you understand that you are born to succeed. You were born to dominate. You were born to rule. You were born to be victorious. With that being said this morning, you have what it takes from the onset to be the best version, one, of yourself. Two, the best version to replicate from the manufacturer line, meaning representing heaven's cabinet. You are representing the brand, the one that brand you from the onset. And because you're on the manufacturer line, the manufacturer stands by his pattern. God stands by us his pattern because he is the manufacturer. He stands to defend his pattern. And how do I understand in the defense mechanism of the one that branded us over all that you were told, a million and one thing not to do, versus were told what you can do. You were told how many times of failure. You were told many times of defeat. But you were told less time of success. You were told less time of victory. This morning, I want to let you understand that the success triumph more of your dilemma and failure. Regardless of the crevices of pain, the crevices of life, of earth, you have to understand that you were told to overcome those pain, overcome those hurt? How do I understand that you were told more to succeed, trump up more of your defeat? Let me speak to the Bible geek and the Bible moguls this morning. And I want to put content into context that you can leave with some takeaways, some nuggets that will guide you through the remaining hours of your day or of your night, or in hemming your day, whatever time zone around the world you are, in keeping with this podcast this morning. The Word of God helps us to understand that even in the righteousness of a man, he falls 7 times. You were told of all the failures, and rightfully so, we all are failing by the minute. How do you understand that? I'm born with the Adamic nature of sin. There is a contending every day with my soul and my spirit. There is a war every day within me, every second or minute second. At time I want to do good, there is evil present. At time I want to do evil, there is good present. And there is the contending going on for the soul of S.G.G.R. and for the soul of every man. But while the righteous man yet in his righteousness, and you will ask, what is a righteousness? Simply mean right standing. But the man in his right standing or his righteousness, even he fell 7 times. Because you were told what not to do. Even the first failure, you are written off of some people's slate. Even your first failure, you were written off of some people's life. Even your first failure, you were taken off some people's agenda. Because in keeping of the first failure, they cannot see you getting better. They cannot see you rising above the fray. But here we understand from the manufacturer, who is standing by his brand of humanity, that the righteous man falls 7 times. I'm here to upload, and for you to upload in your lexicon, change your narrative, that it can govern your action for a upward mobility. That even though in your failure and your falter, yet the 7 times of failing, 7 times of mistake, 7 times of bad judgment, 7 times of loss, yet you can rise again and still be branded by your manufacturer. I am here to tell you, it's not about your failure, how many times you fail. There is still the horizon to pursue. There is still your book to be read. There is still your song to be sung. There is still your book to be written. There is still that Fortune 500 company to be owned. So I want to let you know, it's not how many times you fell. I'm here to let you know, not what you cannot do, but here to encourage you what you can do. You may be right now fugitive in your spirit, fugitive in your mindset. And in a short distant future, your body may go into a fugitive action. But yet you believe that that will be your action for the rest of your life. But I'm here to tell you what you can do. Even in the futuristic mindset that you cannot be overcome, or that fugitive thinking, that fugitive concept, that fugitive feeling, that you can overcome and rise in the power and demonstration. For example, Elijah, into his lexicon, adapt a fugitive thinking that caused him into a fugitive action, that he ran to the backside of the desert Yet understanding that the manufacturer is saying, Elijah, even in your fugitive state, you still have the might and the power to evolve. You still have the might and the power to matriculate. You still have the might and the power to be a 10. So hear the words of affirmation of the manufacturer who is standing by his brand, saying, Elisha, you are a mighty man of valor. The protege of Jesus is saying, you are a mighty man of valor. Look at David. David lied to a nation. When God said to David, thou shalt not count the children of Israel. In the hypotheticals, David counted the stars. That is a like unto the children of Israel. David committed adultery, meaning take somebody else's wife into his coverage and his sheet. David committed murder of putting the bloods on his hand and bloods on someone else in terms of killing Uriah and many more. Imagine David would have taken out of the slate, out of the taking and the liking, because he did not fit the man of the cloth. He did not fit the status quo of the day. And he was told numerous times much what not to do, which he found himself doing. But yet to hear from the manufacturer that you are a man after my own heart. In this pursuant, to let you understand at this juncture, bringing content to context, David doesn't have the same heart like God, but he have the same dictates of the heart that God has, pursuing after what he has created. And David, as the creation, do in his dilemma, do in his failure and his falter, still pursue after the manufacturer. So the heart of pursuant were there a commonality. The heart of the pursuant, there's a similarity. And then the manufacturer endorses the pursuant of the heart and make a recognition for notation for the annals of history inserted into the biblical context for futuristic, past, present, and future reading. Documented in the past, present, and future that David is a man after my own heart, because it's the pursuant. And I'm here for someone to pursue not what you were told that you cannot do, but pursue what you know you can do. You have the enablement, you have the thought process, you have the capacity, you have the ability, you have the talent, you have the strength. I'm here to let you understand. The woman at the well, she were told so many times what not to do, but yet she found herself doing all that what she were told not to do, doing. Being nocturnally appreciated because they weren't love in that love zone relation. That was the twilight of nocturnally, meaning a nocturnal is something that feeds by night, animals that feed by night, mate at night, a nocturnal mate. She was used nocturnally for a nocturnal mate, but be isolated by daytime. but weren't told that she has the capacity to be the first to go down in the annals of history, to call the largest crowd without any training, she were told she don't have influence. She were told she has no character. She don't have the know it's all the where it's all. But here is the woman for 1 second recognize not what she were told she cannot do, but understand that very moment what she can do. And here she ran. First, there was always a number, but we heard from this very juncture, she called a multitude. Defying the numbers agenda, defying the number line, she called the multitude. This morning, I want to encourage you in pursuit of the things that you can do over the things you were told repetitiously that you cannot do. I'm here to encourage you. You may be a broken crayon, but you can still color. You may have been bent over, but you can still be erected. You can be dropped and dislocated hip like Mephibosheth, but yet you can be searched after. I want to let you know this morning, you have the capacity, you have the ability, you have the enablement. And on this note, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. I want to encourage you that I'm not here to talk down to you. I'm here to talk to you, to meet you at the point of where you are, because my intention is for critical thinkers. My intention is for a people that will evolve and matriculate. A people's story have to be told, have to be had, and have to be read. Who are the comeback kids? Who are the overcomers? Do not close your chapter when God is still writing. Do not close your chapter while God is still writing. The woman with the issue of blood could have closed the chapter, stay in a lazy boy chair, stay in a jacuzzi, and die. But God was still writing about the day of her healing as she will press through a crowd. The woman at the well could have sat on that well, our father's well, Jacob's well, and never used her energy and her strength to run into the village. She could have died, missing her own catapulting and emerging, being a world icon, going into the annals of history. I'm here to speak to someone this morning. Do not close your chapter while God was still writing. The prodigal son that have closed his chapter and said, I'm going to stay in this pig pen. I don't have to exert any energy, but I will be fed by the owner. And I will make this my new home, my place of residence. I'm here to let you understand that you can become what you want to become despite of your failure, despite of your situation. Do not close the book while God is still writing. But the prodigal son did not close the book. He said, I will arise and go back to my father. The woman with the issue of blood did not close the book. She said, I am going and I will touch the hem of his garment. Zacchaeus' business was running to a loss. Because nobody wants to deal with a tax collector who is taking away from them than giving to them. And he could have closed that book and said, whenever this form is closed, it's done. But he said, I have to touch with my manufacturer. Yet I am short in stature. I have to be in touch with the manufacturer. I'm climbing into a sycamore tree. I am not closing this book. Why close the book? Well, God is still writing. Why close the book when everyone is telling you 1,000,001 thing you cannot do? Well, no one is telling you what you can do. Why close the book when you are in prostitution ring right now? Why close that book while you're strung out on drugs? Why close that book when you're going through depression, anxiety, and pain? Why close that book while you're going through setbacks? Why close that book while you're marginalized and undervalued? God is still writing, because a story has to be had. A story has to be told. A story has to be a part of your experiential knowledge. Because you will overcome by the word of your testimony. Your testimony gonna begin after the God finish writing. Why close the book at the cross? God is still writing what will be inscripted on your crown. Do not close the book. The woman with the little flower, she could have closed that book. Said, death gonna lie at my door. Why come and ask me if I give you some flour when the only flour I have is to make sure that no explosions will cast at my feet for allowing my son to die hungry. So I will make sure explosion will not be cast at my feet. I will give him the last flour and watch him die. But yet she didn't close the book, and the man of God said, bake me a cake. God is still writing. The flour lasts until the famine is over. The woman was surrounded by debtors. She could have closed the book. God is still writing. Borrow all the vessels. And the oil lasts till she pay out all her debt. The host of the wedding could have closed the book. So be it, that's being embarrassed tomorrow on all the social media, on CNN, on Fox 5, on the Village Voice, on Straight Up on Politics 101, or in the ring. We're going to embarrassed. They could have closed the book and said, guests came to our feast and they had no wine to drink. It ran out. People had to turn to the salivary amylase. They were swallowing the saliva amylase at the wedding because there were no more wine. They could have closed the book and be on the conversational platform also. Why exclude my platform? While God is still writing. Gather all the water pots. And they said, the best wine left for last. Do not close the book while God is still writing. I'm here to tell you what you can do over all that, what you cannot do. With that being said, I want you to apply some strategy to your spirituality that they would not be a calamity. You were told so many times sometimes that your Christianity, but you were never told the strategy. And that's why in Christendom, there are many calamity. You came to live and not to exist. You came to enjoy and not to endure. What is your strategy to your Christianity? Let me start off with married couple. What is your strategy to your Christianity? What are your tone? Marital couple, what are your tone? What are your presentation to your Christianity? What are your excitement to your Christianity? I'm talking to marital couple here. What are your strategy to your Christianity that can avoid calamity? Come back to, you were told a million and one things not to do. But would you told what you can do? Is the strategy to destroy the culture for enhancement. For example, they said, Jesus, how can you heal on the Sabbath day? How can you heal on the Sabbath day? That is the culture. You cannot work on the Sabbath day. Even prayer is work, is exertion of energy. How can you heal on the Sabbath day, Jesus? This is our culture. But the strategy has to destroy culture, to embody critical thinking, and to change the narrative of an embodied thought and concept. And in the most simplistic nature of Jesus, with the strategy to destroy the culture, he said, I am the Lord of the Sabbath. And to up the ante, and to bring relevance into the discourse, he said, if your oxen is stuck on the Sabbath day, you yourself will defy the culture, not knowing in acceptance that you are defying the culture. You will go to take your oxen out of the where it is stuck, because your oxen is bringing gain to you. Your oxen is bringing money. Your oxen is a part of your wealth. So therefore, you will go to take your oxen, whether it be 5 or 10 minutes, and you go back into your act of your Sabbath, not recognizing that you destroy your own culture. So 5 minutes for you doesn't mean anything, but 5 minutes to others means so much to you. And Jesus said, I'm the Lord of the Sabbath. Healing a man is my wealth. As your oxen is your wealth for that 5-10 minutes of you breaking the culture of your Sabbath, because that is where your wealth. And Jesus is saying that healing a man on the Sabbath is my wealth, is my treasure. My life was laid down for this man. My life was placed on the cross. I was spat upon. I was nailed upon. They lacerated my back upon. And I will defy the culture with the strategy to heal, because the healing of this man is the wealth of me. I'm here to let you understand, sometimes it's not what you were told not to do, is what you were told to do. And Jesus actually embodied them to understand you can do what you need to do, because I am the Lord of the Sabbath. Acknowledge me above the day. The day cannot heal nobody. Oh my God. The day cannot bring your wealth. You have to bring your wealth into the day. You have to bring the manufacturer, Almighty God, with your faith into your healing of the day. They were folks on officiate on the day. They were told what to do of the day, but not what is of the day. I can be told what to do in a ceremony, but being told what not to do in a ceremony, but not told what to do in a marriage. Oh, glory to I just feel like going on here, but I'm got to bring this to a closure, because I was talking for 44 minutes, 45 seconds. But I want you to understand that your strategy with your spirituality can avoid a calamity. And what happened is Jesus applied the strategy that will destroy them from a calamity. Because what will happen, they're fighting to maintain the culture of the day, but are losing the strategy So they're fixated on the culture of the Sabbath, but losing the strategy of embodying the Lord of the Sabbath. Like the woman says, you know what, Master, you don't have to go because strategy already take away culture for lunch. You don't have to go. My daughter will be healed. And Jesus said, you know what? Yes, because you have the strategy and destroying the culture. For the culture, you must be there physically. That is the culture. You have to come and lay hand upon my daughter. That is the culture. Go and call the priest. Go and call the rabbi. Go and call the pastor. And they have to come and lay hand upon you, and then you're going to be healed and so forth. Jesus Christ said, because your strategy to your spirituality, your daughter has been made whole. I don't have to go there. You say it. Because on the onset, Jesus led them to understand, I am of the Sabbath. I am destroying the culture. Whatever day you set aside, and the word of God said in Hebrew, yet there remain another day. That tells me that every day it's another day for culture. It's another day to apply strategy. It's another day of rest. It's another day to set aside, another day to pray, another day to meditate, another day for isolation, another day for seclusion. There remains another day. But we were told all what not to do versus what we can do. So we have to make sure that our spirituality with applied strategy can avoid calamity. So when you get into that zone, you deem sometimes to be boring. You deem sometimes to be unaffectionate, to be whatever you have to do. And that actually brings you to the calamity. And inside, we're making inroads. We are regressing inside of progressing. We were told that sometimes you have to have suit on to hit the stage. You have to have a tie on, not knowing that I can be the same effect and greater even with a t-shirt, even without a robe. I was told, I remember growing up in a certain organization, I would want to call it, in the part of the Christian facet in Guyana, and which I served excellently and been actually was growing and so on before my grade. And every time we meet the general council, 50 seconds or more is about a woman's covering, it's about the adorning of gold. You were taking up their time, and I was so young as a Christian, and knowing the aggressive of my thought as a child, I always have an investigative mind. And it always dawned upon me why we are focusing on the adorning of gold and the covering of head. And how much that this has been done, but how much inroads and influx are we gaining? Spiritual culture with no spiritual strategy. Your hair is already your covering beautifully and so on. It's not about the all outward cosmetics of the jewelry. The culture is to raise a heart centered to love, a heart centered to accept, and bring them into the beloved. And cover them with peace, cover them with love, cover them with care. I wish I can hit on more, but time has not permitted me to get more into the strategy and spirituality to avoid a calamity. But with that being said this morning, I want to tell you how much I love you, how much I care about you, how much I concern about you. And from the heart and the pulse of S.G.G.R, yours truly, Sion Kirk Williams Rodney. I'm glad that this morning we can get through the spatters, working in tandem, being in sync, hands in gloves with each other, that this morning you can make conscientious choice, focusing on the things that you can do versus the things you were told you cannot do. Coming back from your dilemma, coming back from your pitfall, rising above the fray, finding your gain, your strength, and gain momentum while you're yet to find your sweet spot. With that being said, I want to let you know that God love you, God care about you, and he will never leave you, neither would he forsake you. You came from the manufacturer line, the one that will stand by his brand. God bless you.